Everyone's SCS Supercoach. Oh, g'day, everyone's SCS Supercoach, providing Supercoach content for you. I'm here to present the round six preview heading into round six and also the match review of the St Kilda and Dogs game. So, a lot to unpack here. I think there's a lot of stuff that has happened over the past 5 hours of Supercoach wise. So, there's a lot to unpack here. And, yeah, so let's first of all go over my changes to the side. We have traded Zach Reed out because I feel like, for me, in my opinion, I feel like I'm going a week early on upgrade here, but I do feel like this is the last week to sort out your rookies, like your dead rookies, I mean. So getting rid of Zach Reed, I've already got Marty Hoare in my side, so I was just thinking I need to get him out of the team, just to open up another spot there. I do think Marty Hall will come back and play a bit of footy. That's the thing. Jai Clark out. I'll get to old mate in a second, but I decided to trade out Jai Clark. 74 break even, name to play. My guess will be he'll be sub. And then we got Colby McKercher. Now, the Thursday night game with the Dogs just didn't mean that we knew much about Colby McKercher heading into the Sunday game. If he wasn't named, I would have held him over you know who, that I will talk about in a second. But I just decided to move off him just in case he was named. We brought in McAuliffe. Part of it was because of a loophole with to do with my midfielders, but also I believe that with all the Richmond injuries, that I do think that he'll be one of our, his job security should be pretty good. It's just whether he'll play midfield. I'm fine with it. We'll see how we go with this pick. See how we go. End of the day. Brought in Will Graham. That was an absolute guarantee. Had to make sure we got him in. We already brought Closley in the week before. And then we got Hayden Young in, bloke that we did start, and now we are bringing back in. So at a extended price of 25k. So 550k, and I do believe that he will be around the mark of a top 8 defender for this season. So I'm pretty happy with that. Also has the good buy. So this leaves me 11.6k in the bank, 27 trades, and 2 boosts left. Now, I guess we vice captain Rowan Marshall, that failed, so we're going to captain either Butters or Ryan. I still haven't decided, but I think I'm leaning more towards Butters because I do think he has a higher floor. And the last time I captained him at the MCG was a few weeks ago against the Tigers, and he went really well. So I'm pretty fine with putting the captaincy on him. Luke Ryan's got a high ceiling, but a lower floor, in my opinion. And it just might be one of those games where I feel like West Coast are on such a high, they might get sent back down a bit to reality. And it's just not down there as much. So, yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Butters just because I think it's a bit more safer. Collingwood midfield concede a lot, that sort of thing. So, all right, let's get into. I mean, is there much else to talk about here? I'll loop Wilson and Cadman. I might, depending on how the scores are looking before the Giants game, I might loop. I might take that Wilson score, or I might not. It's all depending on whether he's best 18 into my side. So yeah, let's. But early days, it's actually looking like he might be in my best 18. So just due to a couple of scores on field here. So we might actually take it. And also it's a bit tougher for Cadman up against the Blues. So let's get into the game. So first of all, fair to say I've been Bevo'd once again. So for that, ah, we've been Bevo'd, fellas. We've been Bevo'd. And now not all of us, because some people actually traded out Riley Sanders, which was probably the right move. I just considered other moves to be more important. Now, looking back at it now with Sanders, I think a 15 will drop him in price a fair bit. Probably he'll probably get under 300k. I'm probably thinking more like 290 territory would be my rough estimation. I haven't checked Bryce Mitchell on Twitter just yet. Um, I probably should have traded Sanders ahead of Jai Clark. I was really sort of scrambling last minute whether to trade Sanders or Clark instead. I just didn't really want a dead rookie, another dead rookie, along with Marty Hoare potentially, and then Livingston. I just wanted to open up as much opportunity for cash gen as possible. Now, that did mean that Riley Sanders would go down about 20k, would be my guess at the minute with how much he'll go down. Not too sure. Hopefully, it's not much worse than that. Just a bit frustrating. How many people did trade out Riley Sanders eventually? 9.7. Yeah, shit. Yeah, fair few people traded him out, so they were pretty hot on the button. I kept him just because I didn't want my M11 to be dead, because basically if I kept Clark, I would have kept him for the whole season, that sort of thing. So unless he regenerated his cash gen, which I'll be bloody fuming now if he does now. So Sanders is obviously a must trade next week. So I just kept a hold of him. So probably wasn't the right move. I was really tossing and turning, got a bit stumbled. So I just wanted these were my trades for the whole entire week. Like Monday night, I had my trades sorted. So I just kind of wanted to stick with that, but I probably should have reacted a bit more quickly and trade out Sanders, but it is what it is at the end of the day. We live and learn from our mistakes at the end of the day. So look, he's only going to drop 20k would be my guess, and yeah, he's definitely a trade out now. Heading into next week, yeah, I just wasn't quick enough to it. I mean, I was tossing and turning, but just I probably went the wrong move in my book. Probably should have just kept the extra rookie dead, but is what it is. Neither situation was ideal. I wanted to get rid of Zach Reed because I wanted best 22 on field because I already had Howes and Hoare. And then needed to get rid of McKercher because I didn't know what was going to happen with Sunday teams. And yeah, 104 break even or something like that. Just didn't want to hold on to that. I guess another thing with Sanders as well, like it was pretty frustrating to watch because I mean, I never cheer on injuries. Injuries are a bad part of the game. I've had my deal with injuries, and it's going to affect me for the rest of my life, that sort of thing. Like I've had 4 knee operations, my knees still aren't good, so I never wish on injuries. But when I saw who was it? Harvey Gallagher. He went into a collision with Rory Lobb early in the third quarter. And I was thinking, okay, there's a chance here that Riley Sanders could get subbed off. But yeah, he just seemed all good. I thought, okay, Sanders will come in because like Harvey Gallagher went to the rooms to get reassessed and he was all good. So that's very good for him. But I was thinking, surely Sanders comes on now, but it was taking forever. And they eventually took off Vandermeer very late in the third quarter. And Sanders only scored a 15. I saw him a little bit early on, but just didn't do enough after that. So, yeah. So for people that traded him out, well done. You probably avoided the cash drop. So, yeah. Let's get into the games or the players. Sorry, had a little bit to drink, so just mind me. Bailey Dale went bloody nuts. I mean, bloody hell. Like 175. This is what happens when you put him on field, Bevo. So I'm not going to give Bevo too much stick because the Dogs did absolutely dominate the Saints tonight. The Saints only, as you can see, the Saints only had one player score a ton. So it was just pure domination from the Dogs from the get-go here. Dale went nuts. Not really Supercoach relevant. Same with Trelaw. He went very good. 151, very good. Bontempelli, if you put the vice captain on him, I would take that score. Um, just because I always have a belief in 120 plus. You just take that and move on. Because you just rather not stress about it really. So 125, I believe you take that. Norton went well. Jack McRae, what was his break even? 158. He's probably not getting. He's gonna drop in price again. Is he top 6? I don't know just yet. I don't know whether the Dogs trust him yet, but I believe if he can get at the right price, I think he could be top six. So just something to monitor with the Dogs and Jack McRae. But just keep in mind that Tom Liberatore did not play this game. Joe Hannison went well. Tim English won 14. So I'll tell you what, it was one of those things where I was sort of bobbling my head a little bit with Ryan Marshall the previous week, and now they've basically reversed scores. Like exact point differential, I think. 114, 120 was Marshall the week before. So that's a 6 point difference. Marshall went 51, English went 58. So English actually got a point differential, one single point differential this week compared to Marshall with English last week. So good result, but I think it's still pretty clear that English's ceiling has gone in my book. So don't get me wrong, like he's very, very rarely going to be scoring 58s. But I just got a feeling with this ruck split that his ceiling has gone. And I think he'll be going a very solid 115 plus, which is still a very good, solid. I mean, you'll take that with a ruckman at the end of the day. Like they'll probably be similar to what Marshall scores. So I think English and Marshall will sort of even themselves out, really. Windhager, if you got him, 3.2% have got him. So well done on you. Now, this is Jack Steele. Now, I'm glad I didn't overreact and try to get him because I sort of learnt with my Tom Green lesson as a mini reminder to not overreact to, I guess, higher owned players with who's just absolutely going nuts. He scored an 84. Now, do keep in mind, I still think he's a fantastic option because he just looks like the Jack Steele of old, but he didn't tonight, as did the rest of the Saints. So it was good to finally get a week off Jack Steele, not going too great because I'll tell you what, he was giving me some bloody nightmares. So just hope that he can get down in price a little bit. If he can get under 600k, I'd like to pick him up if possible. So hopefully that 84 does sort of. And then we'll see how he goes next week against Port, who are also restrictive. So maybe in 4 weeks' time, he might be prime ready to go as a pickup option. So we'll just see how that goes. But don't get me wrong, I think Jack Steele at the minute is a top 8 midfielder. Rolly Garcia is someone to keep a massive eye on. 82. Now the Dogs brought him in after a really good some really good VFL form, so that's a good sign. 82. Do keep in mind that this was a very heavily Dogs infused game. So like an 82. We'll see how he goes next week because we always know that the second week is most important for players on the bubble, but just someone to keep in mind as he could be an actual option for rookies, not next week, but the week after, as we always look for. We always look for the next wave of rookies to come. Riley Bonner, if you kept a hold of him, you'd be fine with that. James Harms is interesting, but I'll probably just give it a pass. Maybe we'll just see how he goes the week after as well, because I do think he does have some good scoring in him. It's just, yeah, we'll just have to see what the forward options are like. But I think it's now at that point in the season where we don't worry about these mid-price sort of blokes, and we just sort of more target the rookies and premiums. Certainly the first 4 or 5 weeks, we certainly look at those mid-prices and get interested in. But I think it's probably now just sort of rookie and premium season now. Jack Sinclair, I wouldn't even go there this season, to be honest. I think the calf injury does really concern me. I don't think he's top 8 defender, so I'd probably just Jack Sinclair this season, in my opinion. Wanganeen Miller, if you brought him in, you'd be pretty disappointed with that. I mean, heading into this week, I was sort of saying that I don't think he is top 8, but I think he's around the mark. But you'd be pretty disappointed with that, and just hope he can bounce back next week against the Power. Darcy Wilson, as I said, I'm actually quite tempted to consider taking his score because with Sam Darcy and Rowan Marshall, does sort of look like that maybe my 17th best scorer might be a bloke like Darcy Wilson instead of a Cadman, that sort of thing. So I might actually take that score. Hugo Garcia is going to be on the bubble next week. He's actually really interesting. Just after that belting, though, I just hope that he can keep his spot. I think there's much worse Saints players than Hugo Garcia, so hopefully he can just get a run because he was getting some midfield minutes. So he did look pretty good. I quite liked him. So just someone to monitor there. He could be a bloke we bring in next week, maybe for a bloke like Sanders or for a bloke like Jack Carroll, that sort of thing. So just one player to monitor there. Machito Owens, yep, yikes. Buku Kamas, what's his break even? 30, probably getting pretty close to probably a bloke that if people did start as a pod rookie that they could move on, but he has been a very good rookie. Here we go, Ron Marshall. Oh my God. And yes, I did vice captain him. I vice captained him, and there is a very high chance that he's not even going to be in my best 18. Like, bloody hell, man. 51 against English? Like, English has been one of the easiest ruckmen to score against. I do think Marshall is a top 3 ruck in the comp. It's just one of those things that we can't overreact on, but he did just have a bad game along with a lot of St Kilda players. So I think he can bounce back against Port next week, but it's just a bloody rough score. I mean, 8.3% have him. How many people brought him in? 1%. So he's actually a pod. So that bloody hurts. That actually really hurts. He's under 10%. That's going to hurt me this week, but it is what it is at the end of the day. It's not a massive deal. I mean, his break even was 78, so he's actually going to drop in cash. But oh well, can't do too much about it. Harvey Gallagher scored a 50. But yeah, it bloody hurts with Marshall. Bloody hell. It's pretty obvious, but you just hold. Sam Darcy, 49 in 47% of sides. 0.7 brought him in and scored a 49. Probably a bloke that if he doesn't fire next week, then probably a bloke that we could probably look to move on. So that would be my guess. Yeah, just one of those things where the Dogs dominated, but he just didn't really get involved. He was still in the ruck contest. He was still taking some good marks, kicked a goal, that sort of thing. But yeah, just a frustrating one with Sam Darcy. I was, if possible, I was gonna loop him, and I probably would have kept him on the bench. But just with the Riley Sanders news, that really sort of woke me up a bit, and just preferred the other way of doing things where I could loop Wilson and Cadman instead of Darcy and Cadman, that sort of thing. And yeah, if Sanders wasn't sub, I would have kept Sanders on field and would have looped Wilson and probably Graham. Is what it is, though. And then anyone else here to, guess, touch on? Sanders, we've already talked about, so that will probably do it with the review. I think for next week, video-wise, I'll do my round review probably on Monday because I will go to North Melbourne Hawthorn. And my guess would be that I will either drink myself to happiness or drink myself to massive sadness. So that'll be my guess, even though I've got work the next day. Yeah, look, this is how my team's looking. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fine without being great. I feel like we should still do all right, but Marshall's going to hurt us on field just due to him being a pod and with English going 114. That's going to hurt. Hopefully Doggo can sort himself out. Same with LDU. Bloody hell, man. I feel like the team's in good shape. Like, I'm happy with all these blokes on field, to be honest. Yeah, it's just probably blokes like Sanders and Carroll, they'll probably have to go next week for maybe like a Garcia and Biggie Nong, that sort of thing. So probably looking at a double downgrade next week, and then we start moving into the upgrades. Targeting blokes, I mean, I'm gonna do a upgrade sort of video next week on blokes that we can target, blokes who we want in our sides at the end of the season, that sort of thing next week. And just hope that that can come to fruition at the end of the day. So Is there much else to report? I'll just quickly go over the matchups for the leagues for anyone that's in the SDS SuperCoach, SDS Super League. These are the matchups. So wishing everyone the best of luck. It looks like at the minute that I'm going to beat Zane, but still very early days. A lot can change here. And then for the SDS Pro League, I'm bloody struggling. This Gunners is going to very likely beat me with the way things are going. But a lot can change here. So wishing everyone the best of luck for this week. A lot of carnage over the last 5-6 hours. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys are doing well. Have a good one.